Hi everybody, I'm Jack Jinseki, and joining me today is Penbu.
Hello.
Penbu, what kind of content do you like to make?
So I say this in my intro. I do programming, puzzle gaming, and music making. And to go further into that, programming is stuff like web dev, shell scripting, code golf, hacking, war games, other technical content as well,
Hmm.
like hardware repair and cans.
Hmm.
Don't do that very often, but it does come up. Puzzle gaming, it's a lot of Tetris, maybe a little bit too much Tetris. I do have a second channel for just Tetris stuff. But also other puzzle games. So most recently, we've been going through Patrick's Parabox, which is an interesting game about going down boxes and recursing through boxes and all that.
Hmm.
So if you've played Baba Is You, it's similar but with a different kind of puzzle. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
And then also music making. This is the one that I like to lean into the most
Hmm.
lately. So this is things like composing and arranging with sheet music and not a DAW like a bunch of other VTubers do.
Mm-hmm.
But also music recording, music performance, uh, piano improv, automaton karaoke. And I also do these things which I like to call covers from scratch, where I record a cover and play all the instruments myself.
Wow. So you do the Tame Impala bit?
I can't sound familiar with whoever that is, but
Ah,
probably.
it's a shame. No, is he's a musician who does all of the parts himself, and
Okay.
and so he has to hire people out to play the other instruments if he ever does a live tour, which
Hmm.
I think is funny. Um, how long have you been doing music?
I've been doing music since, oh, how long has it been now? Uh, it's probably been almost 15 years.
Well,
Yeah, it's been a long time. Probably even older than that if you count the time I spent in music class in school.
hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, but there's a question of when do you really start music? I mean, I would. They had me play a recorder in third grade, so I don't know if
Yeah,
I don't know if that counts.
in a way, I think for me it probably does if we want to go that far because I actually did like to like actually get into the recorders. So when um while all the other students were just trying to get notes out, I learned about tonguing, the articulation technique, and also took the time to learn all the accidentals, the parts that aren't just the white keys.
Hmm. I think that it's the recorder is an interesting instrument because it it kind of became famous for being played poorly in the modern age.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate
Yeah, I mean it's
because
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say because it's beautiful when it's played correctly. It can be used very effectively.
Yeah, yeah. And you listen to some high like professional level players, and they play really well.
Hmm.
They go so far as to have wooden instruments, which I would like one
Hmm.
if I could afford it. I don't know if I'd be able to make use of it. Uh, but especially if you get the alto recorder, any of the lower recorders, because the ones that they use in school is the soprano recorder,
Mm-hmm.
kind of high pitched.
Hmm.
But the alto recorder has a very nice body to it,
Hmm.
very nice soothing sound.
Wood instruments are great because they all seem to have very distinctive sounds to them.
Hmm.
Yeah, like one of my favorites is like the oboe, where you can
Oh, Yoda's
occasion
great. Yeah.
yeah occasionally get like a someone using it like as a solo in a song, and it's just like whoa, that gives the song a real vibe.
Yeah,
uh,
I like to use oboe in my compositions. The way I think of it is kind of like the trumpet, but for the woodwind section.
mm, that's interesting. Uh, m- After the recorder, trumpet was actually my first instrument. I was terrible at it. Then after that, I moved to the tuba. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it must have taken a lot of air.
yeah, but I had a lot of air. What I didn't have was I didn't have a lot of uh, I don't know how you describe this exactly. I didn't have great lips for the trumpet. I didn't have the tight pursed lips you kind of need for it. Uh,
Yes.
Tuba, you just you could basically just blow into the thing and it makes a pretty good sound. um,
Yeah. I was gonna say I would like to have a trumpet.
mm,
The one instrument class that I don't have is brass.
mm,
And I had almost had the opportunity to get a trumpet for free, but that ended up falling through.
mm. I ended up buying my own tuba at some point, and I still have it. It looks like a mess. I got it off a Berkeley student for $1,000. It plays pretty well though. It's a rotary and everything. It's great.
Oh,
And
fancy.
yeah. So what made you want to be a VTuber?
Yeah, I was for context here, I debuted in October 2023. And I actually started the process for becoming a VTuber back in something like March 2022. So it was
Mm,
about a year and a half long process to get there. But at the time, back in 2022, I was really big into VTubers. And I hadn't, well, it was joked among my friends that, so when are you going to become a VTuber? And I passed it off as something that probably wouldn't happen. But turns out an artist I was friends with offered to make me a VTuber model, and I figured, why not? I was into VTubers, and it tends to be the case that whenever I'm really into a hobby, I end up going into the production side of that hobby. So,
mm-hmm,
for example, music, instead of just listening to it, I ended up making music.
mm,
Um, so for VTubing, instead of just consuming VTubers, I started VTubing.
mm,
But yeah, she offered me a model, um, or offered to make me a model rather, because I did still have to commission her.
mm.
And I figured it would be a good opportunity to do stuff that I've been wanting to do, like making music. Because at the time, I think I had taken about a 5 year break with writer's block on music composition, and I wanted to get back into that.
Nice. So have you produced anything recently?
I think the most recent thing that we've put out that's completed is a cover of Ano Yatsu's original song "Mountain." You might know Ano Yatsu from his song parodies. Sorry, VTuber song parodies. So he takes the some famous songs and he adapts lyrics to the melody that are about VTubers.
Hmm. I love musical. I love parody in music. Uh, like one of my favorite people is Weird Al. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and the thing is that he doesn't get a ton of respect because oh, goofy song man, but he puts a lot of work into the parodies that he does. I
Yeah,
remember,
they're a lot of effort.
yeah, like I remember hearing one story about oh god, what was the song? He was doing his parody of Money for Nothing by the Dire Straits, and his guitarist worked for ages and ages to get the guitar riffs and the solo from that song correct. And then uh, Eric Knopfler, I think that's his name, uh, was the guitarist on that, and he said he would only allow the parody on the condition that he could come in and do the guitar himself. And then he came in and just did it in one take, like half-heartedly, and it came out great.
That's great.
uh, sorry. Uh, what was the process for creating your character?
So as I said, the artist who drew me, started 17, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
um, already knew me really well because we were already friends. So her design was based on just me IRL and how I am in person. Like these clothes are basically clothes that I wear as more or less my default outfit.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, we just I think it was her first time or maybe second time making a VTuber model, so we went through a lot of revisions. And then also the rigger I got also was her first time rigging a VTuber model with software that she was unfamiliar with. and so we went through a bunch of revisions for that as well. Um, I use Inochi 2D for my model instead of Live 2D. It's an open source alternative that works natively on Linux because I stream from Linux, and
Uh,
so I
hold
very
hold
much value. Sorry, go ahead.
hold on. Can you repeat that? What's that program called? I've never heard of it.
Inochi 2D. Inochi being the Japanese word for life.
I have to check that out. So sorry.
No, no worries. Yeah. So yeah, I very as somebody who is very much into the free and open source software movements,
Mm.
and also somebody who daily drives on Linux and streams from Linux, I appreciated a solution that was available natively for Linux that was free and open source.
I, I'm forced to ask. Do you have an icon somewhere that's a Clippy?
A Clippy. What do you mean by that?
No, you don't know. There was this guy. Oh, what's his name? Louis Rossman, who's big in,
Oh,
yes, and he
okay. I'm familiar with this.
yes, and he basically did this like. I think that the whole change your profile icon to something movement thing is kind of silly, but it took off, and he changed it to Microsoft Clippy, the little paper clip that would show up in Microsoft Word in like Windows 98 that would say like, it looks like you're trying to write a letter, would you like some help? And people got irritated as heck with it until Microsoft abandoned it. But the thing is that Louis Rossman basically came in and said, um, this, yeah, Clippy was kind of annoying, but they just, Clippy just wanted to help. Compare that to AI and what Microsoft is doing now, and I would much rather have Clippy.
Yeah, I stand by his movement. I'm not one to change my profile picture to anything other than
Yeah.
actually I just never change my profile picture. I said it once and then it's pretty much that forever.
Mm. So, uh, do you have any lore for your character?
Yeah, so I have I mean I didn't bring him with me.
Mm.
But I have a mascot called Ket. He's a little penguin.
Mm-hmm.
And the lore is that he was trying to find somebody to entertain him. So he actually tried to do to VTuber himself, but failed pretty miserably. And so he wanted to find somebody who wanted to do the same things as he did, but did it better. And so I went ahead and applied because I saw his ad, and then pretty instantly he hired me. So I am here to entertain kids.
Nice.
And then
So,
every year around the anniversary, debut anniversary, he does uh, uh, what's it called? A performance assessment to see if he wants to keep me or not.
nice. So, what's your favorite moment from being a VTuber?
Yeah, this one's a bit of a hard one to pick, but I think I would have to pick recently. There was a big collab that I had organized in September of 2025, uh, where I managed to find a bunch of VTubers who were also doing sheet music, which
Mm-hmm.
is a pretty rare thing because, as I said, most composer VTubers out there are using a DAW of some sort.
Yeah.
But we managed to, at one point, we managed to gather 12 of us. Uh, a bunch of them couldn't make it. We ended up with 8 people in the collab, and we did an activity which we called musical telephone. It's really more of a musical relay,
Hmm.
where you start with uh, a small idea.
Hmm.
You write that down, and then you pass it around, and everyone who gets it will add their own little bits to the piece. And
Hmm.
at the end, we listen to what everyone created.
And so the entire piece, does it sound good or does it sound like a mess?
They were insanely good. I was
Huh.
working with very talented people.
Nice. Because I mean, it's like music like that is all about interpretation, isn't it?
It
Like,
is, yeah.
I I know I'm going off on a lot of tangents, but I love talking about music. I heard this story about what's his? It was Miles Davis and the guy who did Herbie Hancock, and Herbie Hancock tells a story about he plays during a jam session he plays this really wrong note and everything is wrong and he's playing across from Miles Davis and Miles Davis just kind of stops for a moment and thinks about it and then plays more that recontextualizes the wrong note so that it becomes right. And
Yeah, I quite admire jazz musicians for their ability to improv like that. I don't
yeah.
think I could.
Oh. it, those guys were just the most interesting people to me. They were fascinating. Uh,
Hmm.
so, what makes you unique as a VTuber?
So I've come to learn over the years that it's not really the individual things, but everything that's combined together. So, for example, I used to think that me doing automaton and sheet music, being on Linux,
Hmm.
maybe Linux a little bit less because I had found people streaming from Linux before. Um, so over the years, I found that more and more people have that and have been doing that. Um, but I think the combination of me being somebody who plays the automaton, plays a ton of instruments, does sheet music on stream,
Hmm.
does covers from scratch where I play all the instruments, streams on Linux. What else do I do? All that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that Linux generally makes you kind of unique as a VTuber, or
Hmm.
unique in general.
Arch, by the way, for anyone wondering.
Oh yeah, I've every time like I see people compare the different types, it's like Arch is always like I don't know it always comes across like it's like three times harder than everything else.
It's true in a sense because I mean there is an installer these days, so it's a little bit easier.
Hmm.
But it does get you to like get your fingers into the nitty gritty of things.
Hmm.
It it forces you to learn how your system works so that you can maintain it better.
Hmm. That's interesting. Uh, what what do you hope to accomplish through your channel?
Yeah, I think the things that I want to accomplish with the channel is the same actually today as when they were at debut.
Hmm.
And so these would be things like do things that I would not have otherwise made time for. So as I mentioned earlier, sheet music,
Mm-hmm.
or sorry, music composition in general, um, programming projects that I have been wanting to do and still haven't gone to, which actually is still true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I also wanted to introduce people to things that VTubers don't tend to do very often, fill in niches.
Mm-hmm.
So like all the stuff that I mentioned earlier, and
Hmm.
then foster a community of like-minded people because people are always looking for things that they like. And with all the niche things, you don't often find people who are similar to you in that sense.
Hmm. Absolutely. What would you talk about with your favorite VTuber?
So I have two answers to this one.
Okay.
Um, for my absolute favorite VTuber, I hope she won't get embarrassed by by me saying that she's my absolute. Nice Eggy is indie VTuber on Twitch, and she streams on YouTube now
Mm-hmm.
as well. I actually did get her on my channel to talk about this. We had talked about public transit and walkable cities um,
Hmm.
and urbanism in general like that, along with another VTuber friend of mine. Um, so we it seems like we have a lot of topics to have in common, or yeah, that we have in common like that, and uh, you don't get. I don't feel like you get a lot of VTubers talking about that kind of stuff, so I brought her onto the channel for that.
It's funny you say that because I'm a civil engineer, so I I have plenty of thoughts on walkable cities and public transport and all that stuff.
Well, maybe we'll get you on if we do another episode.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to talk about that. Uh, uh, you said you had two answers.
Yeah, yeah. So if I were to go for a more traditional favorite VTuber, someone a little bit larger, I would have to say Cecilia Immergreen, and I really admire her for how creative she is on stream and all the automation stuff that she set up, and I would want to talk to her about that.
Yeah. So, what would you see? What might you see a VTuber doing that would make you instantly want to watch them?
So I seek this out pretty regularly. VTubers doing sheet music. I know we keep going back to this, but every so often I'll do a search on YouTube for like VTuber or like sheet music VTuber, musical VTuber, and once in a while someone new will come up, and on occasion somebody on Twitch as well, and that's an instant subscribe for me, and I'll often leave a comment, letting them know that I've seen this.
So, do you feel that sheet? Do you feel that sheet music versus the what was it, Adobe? Uh, do you feel that sheet music is more? Hmm, or should let me rephrase. Why do you feel that sheet music really speaks to you more personally?
I think it's because I do it myself, and I don't see a lot of other people doing it.
Hmm.
Because the way that you think when you're composing with music notation rather than with a piano roll and DAW,
Mm-hmm.
is fairly different in my opinion. Because with notation, and especially if you're composing with the intent for it to be playable, which a lot of people who compose in a DAW don't really think about.
Mm.
Um, you're thinking a little bit more symbolically. You're thinking a bit more high level,
Mm.
uh, and you get to focus a little bit more on the theory. Whereas with a DAW, you're thinking about how do I make this sound the way I want it to sound. Very precise in the parameters that they tweak and all that. There's there's a time and place for both, I think.
Mm.
Um, but I do prefer the workflow that notation gives you.
So, like, the immediate difference that would stick out to me is that notation offers a certain level of interpretation, and so you have to sort of work your mind around how what you write down can be interpreted, whereas with the other way it's much more literal, and you have a whole lot of fine tuning, and you can make it sound exactly the way you want, but that wouldn't translate to a sheet music that another person could read and develop their own interpretation of.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Hmm. I never think about that sort of thing, so it never really occurred to me. Uh, I know I know very little about composing myself, actually. Uh, so, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be an entertainer?
Well, the obvious advice I would say is don't be not entertaining. But to be more serious about it, you find something that comes naturally to you. You can't be entertaining if you don't really believe in what you're doing yourself.
Hmm.
And I would say don't be afraid to explore any tidbit of crazy ideas that you have because that might lead to something fun.
Hmm.
One of the examples that I have from my streams is where I had done what I like to call the recursive stream. So I take the stream that is going on live and I play it in the stream
Hmm.
and I play music over it. So in effect, it's a loop um, where I play over myself.
Hmm.
I need to do another one of those. I think it's a lot of fun.
Nice. What was the first anime that you feel really connected with you?
I would say maybe K-On! I watched a few anime before that. Josh Hiraku, I think, notably, but K-On! I think being the music anime that it is,
Mm-hmm.
um, and my genre of choice is slice of life, and of course K-On! Fit that bill really well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think the combination of slice of life and music and just the great characters and their interactions, and the good storytelling as well. Uh, that was probably one of the earlier ones that comes to mind.
Nice. Uh, which anime had a theme song that made you really want to watch the show?
So the one that comes to mind very prominently for this one is Bakemonogatari with Stable Stable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Stable Stable is really strong musically,
Hmm.
and I mean there's a few shows I think that where it has gotten me to watch the show. Bakemonogatari is one of them. I think the first one that got me to watch it, um, just based on the opening, was probably uh, Full Metal Panic, Fumofu's Sorega Aida show by Shimokawa Mikuni.
Hmm.
That was for, what is it? Fumofu, I think, is the second or third season of that show. So I actually did have to watch the rest of it to get context.
Hmm.
But it's, it's very musically strong, just like Stable Stable. But I think what really gets me with this one is, if I may go into some of the more technical details,
Go for it.
uh, the key change into from the pre-chorus into the chorus. So I'm gonna give a bit of technical word salad here for the musically inclined folks, and then I'll explain in more plain terms here. So the melody of the pre-chorus ends on the supertonic, and then the key modulates up by a major second going into the chorus.
Hmm.
So what that means is the pre-chorus ends on an F, and I do have a melodica here so I can more sonically demonstrate. So
Hmm.
F is this, and then the home note is E flat and the and when you have a note like that, the melody wants to go home, so it wants to go to the E flat. But instead of going down to the home note, it changes the home note to meet the current note instead.
Hmm.
And so I'll play that. I To the YouTube gods who are listening, I don't think this will trigger any copyright detection, so it should be okay. So the pre-chorus goes something like this. If I can find the, yeah, so this here. Right, so it ends on an F. It wants to go down to the E flat. Yeah, that sounds final, but that's not what it does. Right, so it shifts upwards,
Hmm.
so that the home note is now that F that we stayed on. I think that's really cool.
Hmm. It is interesting to see uh, when anime songs play around with key changes, because a lot of them kind of have a they kind of stay near home base a lot.
Oh yeah, a lot of pop songs do as well.
Yeah, and so when you hear one of the anime songs do something interesting, you're like, oh, okay. I don't I don't know how to explain it. I don't know a lot of the music theory terminology, but I do know when I hear something that's kind of unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, if you could go to an anime convention tomorrow, whom would you cosplay as?
So it's funny because there is actually an anime convention going on now,
Yes.
in the local area. I don't actually tend to go to anime conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Not much of a convention person. I do make exceptions for the VTuber conventions because they're highly relevant to what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And in the VTuber convention, I cosplayed as myself. Some of you who may have seen something on Twitter, I did post a shot of me cosplaying as myself with Reichi. She was doing the half heart gesture, and I responded with the thumbs up because
I saw that.
like she was asking. Yeah, it's just like she was asking for it.
uh,
But if I were to cosplay as somebody from an anime, I'd probably go for something a little more low effort.
mm-hmm.
To name a random person, I guess Tadakuni from Danshi Kokusei no Nichijou, but I actually don't know how much effort that's going to be. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably more than I think it does.
That's the thing about like art. That's the thing about artistic endeavors, is that you think, oh, I could do that, and then you get into the nitty gritty, and you're like, this is harder than I thought it was.
I get that a lot with some of my musical projects.
Oh, that's easy. Anyone can do that. Not so easy.
Yeah.
Uh, would you rather go to an enormous convention or a smaller one?
Yeah, definitely. I think a smaller one. I think there could be times where I could go for a larger convention if I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, I don't know how large Offkai is, but it's certainly larger than Oshi Uplink that happened a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. I like this. No, I don't have much experience with conventions in general. As I said, I did go to Oshi Konbini last year, and that was
Hmm.
much smaller than Oshi Uplink. But I do like the vibe of the smaller ones because it means that I get to see everything
Yeah.
that they have to offer without missing much.
Yeah, that is true. Because like I've been to conventions where there was one room, and I mean there was like the artist alley and all that stuff, but then they had one room where they actually held panels, and it's like okay, yeah, I don't want to go to see all of these, but I know what I'm missing when I if I don't go
Mhm.
to it. Whereas compare that to an enormous convention, and it's like there are at least 10 different things going on at the same time. You can choose literally one of them.
Yeah.
uh, so, which game did you have the most fun playing on stream?
I have a couple answers for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would say probably the most fun is Potluck Mahjong. Potluck Mahjong is basically Riichi Mahjong, but you can throw in a bunch of house rules.
Hmm.
And we had some pretty crazy house rules, um, and we changed them up every hand or so just to keep things interesting.
Hmm.
And so I played that with a few of my VTuber friends, a couple of times too. Uh, so one of them, so I don't know if you know very much about Mahjong, but it, it's a tile-based game where you draw. You can think of it like a card game. You have a
Mm-hmm.
wall of tiles where you can draw from.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the house rules that we had was instead of taking turns to draw from the wall, you can just take at any time,
Hmm.
including as simultaneous with other people.
Hmm.
And then we also had another house rule where to be able to touch anyone else's tiles or draw from the wall, you had to ask politely, and that was a lot of fun too.
it's
uh,
it sounds like a variant of the Uno rule where you have one card, you have to say Uno.
a little bit, yeah. A couple other games that enjoyed on stream. So Code Golf on the programming side.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you try to complete a task but with as few characters as possible, and so you get
Mm.
some crazy uh, language breaking, frankly, solutions to things. So you throw out all of your best practices and just try to focus on getting down to as many characters as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, as few characters as you can. And that means you really have to know your language and know how to exploit certain things here and there.
Mm.
And that kind of puzzle solving really gets me.
I have heard of Code Golf before. What do you think? Do you have like a crowning achievement for it? For what you did with it?
uh I don't know if I'd say there's anything that sticks out in particular. I There were some aha moments. I can tell you specifically which.
Hmm.
But I use a site called code.golf.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and well, I can't say I've gotten anywhere near the top for anything that actually mattered.
Oh, do you have like just one that pops into your head like, oh, I coded this in this many characters?
uh, we actually, so I'm just thinking about all the solution or the problems that we did. So we've done Fizz Buzz, which is a classic interview question. Most recently, we did Pi in a few languages.
Hmm.
Um, that one that one was interesting because I you can't just use the number format or
Mm-hmm.
the number data type because you don't have enough digits. They want you to write out 1,000 digits of pi or something like that. And you
Huh.
can't do that with the built-in stuff because you don't have enough precision.
Yeah.
So you have to use one of the algorithms to spit out the decimal numbers.
Huh.
Um, Yeah, and I would say, while I don't think that's necessarily novel or breakthrough or anything like that, it was an interesting case in how do you take an algorithm that is written for another language, adapt it to adapt it to the language that you're using, and then just try to pare that down as much as you can, and seeing where seems like there's
Oh, I apologize.
no, no, it's
Neighbors.
yeah, pretty loud neighbors for our nature walk here.
Yeah, I know. Well, I also have news. In New Hampshire, there's always someone with either a lawnmower or a chainsaw, which is why some of the nature sounds in the background you can hear very quiet chainsaw like a mile away. Uh, uh,
Oh, yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, yeah, say take a solution, an algorithm written for another language, translate it to the target language you're working in, trying to see which parts are were language specific that you maybe can't translate, or things that you can get rid of because your language has something better.
hmm
And then yeah, try to pare that down to as few characters as you can.
I think it's kind of funny that part of the process was finding a way to shorten pi because finding a way to shorten pi is basically how calculus was invented.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So, what's a song you can't help but dance to when you hear it?
I'm not much of a dancer, but I do. Going back to music again, I
Hmm.
do tend to like mock conduct and air drum to certain pieces. So
Hmm.
anything orchestral or big, or it has a big sound like that. Um, Air conducting or mock conducting rather, it helps me uh, lock in a little bit to what I'm hearing, and helps me listen to like do active listening on the piece. Because sometimes you get a piece that isn't in 4/4 and you get some weird time signature, and it's kind of difficult to count. But once you lock into it, it makes it a little bit easier to digest. Um, and air drumming, because I'm not a drummer, but I am a percussionist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that perhaps comes a little bit more naturally to me as well.
Nice. So, what's a new experience that you've had recently?
I have recently started getting into Utao. So for those of you who aren't familiar, uh, Utao is kind of like Vocaloid, but it was the community version, because Vocaloid you have to pay for,
Mm-hmm.
and Utao somebody created for free. And because it's community created, it's you can make your own voice banks for it.
Hmm.
And recently on stream, I had started making my own voice bank,
Hmm.
and also it's creating stuff with OpenUtao, the software. So vocals are not something that I've typically really thought much of, until I started playing with Utah, because now that gave me a tool to work with lyrics.
Nice. What's the strongest reaction you've ever had to a movie?
So I'd say this is maybe a bit of a tough one because I don't really have much reactions when I watch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember with Wolf Children, it's an anime about
Oh yes.
yes, the anime about was it a girl and a werewolf, I think it was,
Hmm.
and they have children, and their children are both human and wolves, and they have to navigate their way around that. Um, but something about it, by the end of it, I went, you know, this is it. This is my favorite, and it has remained my favorite since then.
Nice. That is a movie that I've heard of before.
Mhm.
I should probably check it out at some point.
It's very good. I like it, obviously.
Oh, what's something crazy that you'd never try but would watch someone else doing?
I don't actually tend to do many crazy things. I mean, I guess if I were to give an answer, and this is from experience, I guess
Mm-hmm.
whatever Tom Scott is up to, he does a lot of
Oh yeah, that's the guy who's like, I'm here in this town. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I'm not saying that everything that Tom Scott is up to is crazy, and there's a lot of things that I maybe would try.
Hmm.
Um, but it's fun watching him go to all these places and trying all sorts of new things, and some of them I might not want to try, but it's fun seeing him experience it. Um,
Hmm. It's interesting because he often talks about civil engineering related projects, and so that, of course, as a civil engineer, it kind of it's interesting to me, uh,
mhm.
like seeing about like a mining setup that's like the oldest in the world that's about to be shut down or something like that. Uh,
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that one.
yeah, or oh, what was it? There was like, I think there was like a bridge elevator or something like that. I forget what it was, but
Oh,
yeah,
I do
I've
remember that one as well. Yeah, the elevator that's basically a pedestrian bridge of sorts.
yeah. Oh, I think that stuff is really neat. He does really interesting stuff. Uh, hold. What's something you made that you're proud of?
We go back to music with this one.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, obviously,
yeah,
but
I mean, I think pretty much all most of the music that I make, I'm really proud of. As a VTuber, I would, well, I mean, I guess the ones that come to mind are all covers, but I swear I have some originals that I'm pretty proud of too.
hmm.
Three that come to mind are "Right Here Waiting" by Richard Marx. That was a cover from scratch.
Hmm.
The first one in the series. We played that one on the automaton. Or sorry, the automaton had the melody for that one.
Nice.
Apologies to Richard Marx for that. There's also the time where I was asked to write the soundtrack for HMS Luminary.
Hmm.
HMS Luminary was a project where we sent a plush Phase Connects VTuber Jelly Hoshumi to space.
Hmm.
Uh, One of the fans had qualifications to send a weather balloon up or something.
Hmm.
Um, and I wrote the music for that one.
Oh wow.
And not yet released, but this has been a project that has been going on since pretty soon after debut. I've been arranging a concert band arrangement of pieces by uh, Hololive VTuber Hoshimachi Suise.
Hmm.
This one is her lost song, if you haven't heard of it. Basically, Billy owns the rights to this, and yeah, after they kind of fell through, she can't sing it anymore, which is a shame because this one is my favorite of hers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like how this one has turned out, and every time I do something with this, I just keep adding more and more. So recently, I had started making trans lyrics, so singable English translation for the song, and put that into Utao. And so that's the latest addition to this.
Yeah. Did you have any more thoughts on that?
I mean, I suppose I should shout out one of my original pieces, shouldn't I?
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah, the most I think the most recent original piece that I've made that I've put out rather is this piece called "One Step Back, Two Steps Forward." Yeah, I
Hmm.
got that right. Um, is a rock band piece. So I generally compose in either rock band or concert band or
Hmm.
some mixed ensemble. Sometimes also piano quintet where you have piano and string quartet. But this one was a rock band piece.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and I played around with that. I had a musical framework for that where I had the piano and the electric guitar uh, basically playing a musical melody twice, but one of the instruments was offset from each other.
Hmm.
So piano would play and then piano would play A again, but on the second A, the guitar would play B, and then guitar would play B again, but from there, piano would play C.
Hmm.
And so it went back and forth like that for a little bit. And the bass and rhythm guitar and the drums were all doing something different every time that swap was happening.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, that one I think was fairly interesting because I played around with key signatures a little bit there as well.
Nice. So, what's something you've enjoyed in your life that you didn't expect to enjoy?
I'd have to say anime for this one because I
Hmm.
actually way back I actually didn't like anime. I was maybe a bit of an anime hater. And then my friends one of my friends got into anime and said I should give this a shot. I refused a couple times, but eventually I gave in. Um and so he gave me a copy of what was it? Silver Spoon, Gin no Sachi, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I liked it enough. It was okay. I think nowadays I'd probably like it a bit more.
Hmm.
Um, but I liked it enough to not shut it down completely. And I recall I did actually seek out the second season for it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I found a couple more. Then he gave me a couple more shows. I think it was Toradora and Golden Time,
Mm-hmm.
both rom-coms. Toradora is pretty good.
Hmm.
Golden Time I found a little bit annoying.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, from there I think I started seeking out my own shows, and now and then I got really into anime more so than he did, as one often does. Um, and now he regrets it a little bit, introducing me to it. But that eventually led to me enjoying VTubers. But VTubers is also something I didn't expect to enjoy because
Hmm.
my first encounter with VTubers was with Kizuna Ai back in 2016. Yeah, I think it was 2016, maybe early 2017. There was a Twitter account called Kirino Dere, um, and she had posted a something about Kizuna Ai,
Hmm.
and so I want to go check that out. And so I liked it. I actually did end up watching Kizuna Ai fairly regularly up until a point, and I started feeling bad about myself because it felt I was watching an anime girl doing vlogging on YouTube, and it just felt something about it felt wrong.
Hmm.
Like I felt bad for myself or something, and so I stopped watching because I started getting a little bit disinterested in the new stuff she was making. I think this point, she was making music and songs, and at the time I was not as much into the J-pop sound as I tolerate more now.
Mm-hmm.
And I also checked out some other VTubers. None of them really clicked either,
Hmm.
and so I left it until Myth came into the scene, and I didn't actually watch their debuts, even though I knew they were happening. It was only until I saw a clip of Gura singing, what was it, Bakamitai,
Hmm.
and that was what latched me on. And then now I'm a VTuber myself. And, what can you say? History repeats itself.
I I remember seeing. I don't know if you know much about the '80s city pop stuff, but I saw Gura singing "Ride on Time," and I thought that was hilarious because I knew about the song before I knew about the cover, and there are lots of
Mm.
people who know the song because of the cover.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I think right on time and most of the other city pop stuff specifically I
mm,
found out through Gura.
mm,
I know I have had some songs in my library through my dad of actually that artist as well. None of them come to mind though, but I did have a couple of songs from her.
mm.
So I was probably exposed at least to the genre.
Yeah. So, what's the furthest you've ever traveled on a whim?
Yeah. For me, I'm not much of a person to go on whims. Um, but I think the closest thing that would come close to this is the time I took a transit joyride on the local subway network.
Mm-hmm.
This was planned, so I couldn't say it was a whim, because my sister was at an event and I needed to wait for her to finish the event, so I figured while I was there, I may as well take the joyride. I
Hmm.
was tracing out a historic route. They had the system called the interline system, where instead of having the traditional every route is on its separate track. they had routes uh, along the same track, or rather, they had two routes were serving every station, or something like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can actually get from any one station to any other station with just one subway ride.
Hmm.
And they eventually scrapped this idea because it was causing confusion and delays over the network. Because if one of the things was delayed, the entire network was basically delayed. Um, and so
Hmm.
I traced that route with the existing lines.
Nice. So, would you ever talk to a stranger unprompted in a public setting?
I typically s- uh, ah, I typically stick to myself and keep to
Mm-hmm.
myself, but I will if I have to. So, for example, if I need help or anything like that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't hesitate to ask. There was, however, one time in university, I saw somebody in the lounge using the Windows Classic theme on her laptop,
Mm-hmm.
and for any of you who have been into my streams, I use the Windows Classic theme as my overlays.
Hmm.
Um, and so at the time, and still am, even though I'm on Linux, I do like the Windows Classic look, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody uses that. This was
Hmm.
back in what 2015, 2014 ish,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around that time. And so by that time, I think Windows 8 was probably the dominant operating system at the time. Windows 7, Windows 8,
Hmm.
which obviously went away with the Windows Classic theme. And
Hmm.
so to see somebody using that, I had to approach them,
Hmm.
and we became friends after that.
Nice. What's your earliest memory?
I don't think I have anything uh, super memorable for this one. Um, I there was so I was born in the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I remember this. Maybe this is my earliest memory. Maybe it isn't, but it was fairly early on, and it was in the Philippines. I was playing on the street with my grandmother and sister,
Mm-hmm.
um, and there was a street just outside her house. Fairly
Hmm.
simple, but as memory goes, that's how you remember things, right?
Yeah. So, which season is your favorite?
I would say the fall,
Hmm.
autumn, because you get relief from the heat of the summer, and it's not as wet as spring.
Hmm.
People also say the colors are fine. They're a plus. I like them, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a reason that they're my favorite.
Nice. Uh, what's your favorite thing you ever cooked yourself?
I think in recent years, I quite like a recipe for. Well, I say it's a recipe. I just throw things in.
Hmm.
Steamed pork is a dish that I like to cook once in a while.
Hmm.
So this is where you take ground pork, preferably a little bit fattier. You can add a bit of butter to make it more fattier.
Hmm.
Um, you add a bit of eggs and mix that around, um, and then you steam it.
Hmm.
And I like to add what do you call it? Preserved duck eggs, the century eggs,
Hmm.
to it as well, and sometimes salted eggs. But yeah, you steam that, and it's almost I wouldn't it'd be I think it'd be doing it injustice call it like a meatloaf, but it kind of it's I mean if you okay so if you open up a steamed bun, a bao,
Hmm.
and you get the pork thing, it's kind of like that, but a little bit less connective. I don't know what the
Hmm.
words I'm looking for.
Hmm.
It's a little bit more crumbly than that, but it's very
Hmm.
good. Um, and also, I guess a little bit more recently, I had bought a bottle of char siu sauce,
Hmm.
which is basically Chinese barbecue sauce,
Okay.
and I put that on chicken, put that into an air fryer, and that turned out really well as well.
Nice. On the other side, what's the worst thing you've ever cooked yourself?
I don't think this here is the worst thing I've ever cooked, but people do give me flack for it. I once had some peaches that were going bad, so I put it into an omelet and made peach omelet. And I still haven't heard the heard the last of it.
Peach omelet.
There are recipes for it online apparently, so it's a thing.
I mean, I'm not I'm not totally against the idea because there are if you look at like a recipe for certain types of pancakes are very close to just being like eggs with a little bit of flour in them. And peaches on one of those type of pancakes would probably be very good. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it could be done correctly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I certainly didn't. I mean, it was fine. It tasted fine.
Yeah.
It's just I think the idea puts people off.
Yeah, I think that with certain foods, just like they can't get past the idea, and so it just turns out bad for them. I don't know. What's a food you strongly associate with your childhood?
I I grew up with a lot of Filipino and Chinese cuisine because that's where my heritage comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if I were to maybe pick one, maybe it would be sinigang, which is a Filipino soup, Filipino sour soup, tamarind based.
Hmm.
You can make this with a few different meats. You can either get this with pork or fish.
Hmm.
I've heard somebody doing it with chicken before. It feels kind of weird to me, but
Hmm.
I somebody has made it with chicken and I've had it. Um, and you also get green beans, tomato, onions. Uh, a lot of people put okra. I don't like okra, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
find that okra is just an enormous detractor for like a lot of people. It's like the vegetable equivalent of cilantro. People just can't be doing with it.
yeah. I mean, I'll eat it. I would prefer it not to be there.
Okay, you find $50 in the street and there's nobody around to claim it. What do you buy with it?
To be honest, for me, I think I might actually just leave it there. But if I were to take it and well, the
Wh-
next thing I would say is I'm not one to just buy things randomly, so I would probably just stick it in a savings account and maybe invest it in the market.
Hmm.
If I did have to buy something with it, a musical instrument maybe. I do
Hmm.
find I tend to buy musical instruments on a whim. So if I can put it towards an instrument for my collection, I would maybe do that.
So I know that you mentioned trumpet in the past. Do you have like this is the next instrument that I want to buy in your mind?
I have a couple instruments on my throne actually. Some of they're a lot of smaller percussion instruments
Mm-hmm.
because they're fairly cheap and you can do a lot of things with them. Some of the bigger instruments that I have are a practice cymbal,
Mm-hmm.
so like a crash cymbal with a
Yeah.
bunch of holes in it. Um, because it would be really nice to have a cymbal roll in my recordings
Mm-hmm.
because I think that would be really nice. Just add a splash of color.
Hmm.
But also, I've been wanting to learn the guitar and pick up the guitar, the electric guitar,
Hmm.
because I compose for Rock Band,
Hmm.
and it would be very helpful to actually be able to play the guitar. One, so that I know what's idiomatic on the guitar,
Hmm.
but also so that I can actually play my own pieces on the guitar.
Hmm. That's interesting. Uh, if you could wake up with one talent tomorrow, what would it be?
I would say maybe shortcut drawing. Because as a VTuber, I find drawing is one of those skills that if you have, it's really good to have.
Yeah.
Because you can just make your own stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, I I'm on the other side where I can make my own music, and so that saves me on things like making music for covers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But drawing just has a lot of utility in VTubing, and I think that would be pretty helpful. I
Hmm.
Something perhaps more musically related, I could say, is being able to write lyrics. I can write lyric translations that are singable,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have the ideas necessary to come up with original lyrics.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like when it comes to lyrics, I there are lots of lyrics that I hear that are just kind of like eh, and then I hear some that are like really interesting, like more thought provoking. Like if you're familiar with Rush from the '80s, uh, they did a lot of they did a lot more philosophical stuff with their lyrics. Uh,
Hmm.
so I feel like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But apparently that has never been a detractor for certain songs for becoming uber popular.
Yeah, I think there are many songs that are popular that just don't make sense anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
Maybe the trick is to just put in some random words that sound good together and call it a day.
it reminds me of this. There's this one song that was written by an Italian who he wrote the song as a criticism that all the other people around him were trying to emulate American music. And so he made the song to try to sound like an Americanized pop song, except that it didn't have any actual English in it, but he wrote the words to sound like English. And so the song is just nonsense.
I have to
But
go look that up.
it's really catchy though. Uh, so which decade's aesthetic vibes with you the most?
Well, I think it's fairly apparent with the theme that I have in my overlays on stream. It'd probably be the '90s.
Hmm.
Um, I am a '90s kid, and
Hmm.
I mean, as much as I would make 2000s probably the aesthetic that I grew up with, I think the '90s aesthetic with all the uh, simple. Well, I'm thinking like the 90 Windows 95 and Windows 98 UI, right?
Hmm.
Or even the Mac Classic UI.
Hmm.
Um, simple, but it still has an element of flair to it,
Hmm.
and a little bit of personality to it.
You can recognize it instantly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And also it had it. I think that the original uh, drop down, the way that the start bar worked in like '95 and '98 was great. I can't stand what it's turned into. That's just me though, I guess. Uh,
Yeah, when I was actually on Windows 7, I had installed, I think it was Classic Start at the time,
hmm.
that restored the Windows 9X style start bar, or sorry, start menu,
Hmm.
but with the added functionality of searching, because I think searching is really handy.
Yeah, searching does come in, especially if you're looking at like up settings or something.
Hmm.
Like, because I mean, God's sakes, the sound. Oh my God, you know what I'm talking about. Anything to do with sound on Windows is just utterly broken.
Well, yeah, there. It's been quite a while since I've like dealt with sound on Windows, but yeah, um, yeah.
it's 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 just awful. I un- I unfortunately have not made the switch to Linux. I've always been concerned about basically losing all of my games and half of my software because everything runs on Windows. And so if I knew that I could basically run 95% of what I run right now, and I probably can if I put in the time, I would switch to Windows almost immediately. I would switch to Linux, not Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, I think there's certainly you probably could, but yeah, as you said, the problem is wanting to take the time to actually explore these things.
Yeah. It would take a learning period at the very least. I would need like I know that there are options that you can put Linux on the same machine, but I would rather just have an entirely different computer that just ran Linux and just
Hmm.
just to play with that for a while. Maybe like a small dinky laptop or something. Anyway, uh do you collect anything?
So I alluded to this earlier. I do collect a number of musical instruments.
Mhm.
Uh, so a ton of percussion. So right now, off the top of my head, I have a triangle, two triangles rather, four egg shakers, a kalimba, xylophone, glockenspiel, bongos, which was gifted to me for free.
Mhm.
Uh, I have a tin whistle, which I guess is technically not a percussion instrument, but
I count it.
I the percussionist would probably play it if you were in a band.
Here's a question. This is something that I've found since I played the tuba, is that if you get a bunch of tubas together, every single one has their own little story. Do you have an instrument that has a story behind it?
So, uh, I I think every instrument that I have probably has a story. Uh, the one that I would say that has the most, I don't know if I would say interesting. Maybe the most personal to me is
Mm-hmm.
the glockenspiel that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a 30 note glockenspiel or something like that. I got it off of Amazon. So the
Mm-hmm.
instrument itself is not really all that noteworthy. But the glockenspiel was the instrument that I played in high school, and prior to that, I had not really played a band instrument. I actually signed up for the beginner class because I hadn't played a band instrument at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but it conflicted with one of my required courses. So they put me in the oh no, I they did I can't remember if they put me in the advanced course or if they left it out and then I complained that I wanted the music for it.
Mm-hmm.
So they did an assessment, and prior to that, I had learned the 2 years prior the keyboard
Mm-hmm.
through the middle school music program, and so I had keyboard experience, and my music teacher had put me on the glockenspiel because the layout is very similar. It is also for if you're not familiar with the glockenspiel, it's a an instrument. It's a percussion instrument. You hit the bars with plastic mallets, and the bars are metal and they're laid out in a piano keyboard fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And so my experience with the piano or with the keyboard transferred over to the glockenspiel, and I played that for 4 years. Um, and the first time that I had heard the class play a piece, it really moved me. And so the I guess the experience I have with the glockenspiel made me a bit nostalgic, sentimental, or something. Because I didn't have one of my own at the time. I was just using the school one. So when I was COVID came around, and I had the money to actually get an instrument for myself,
Mm-hmm.
I just bought a glockenspiel.
Nice. And my final question of the interview: what smell reminds you of home?
We go back to food for this one, and I think good home cooking takes the cake for that one.
Nice. Well, that's all I have for this interview. Thank you very much for coming out. After this interview is over, I'm going to go commit crimes against my neighbor. Uh, but if you're in the audience right now, thank you for coming out and thank you for watching. And I will be linking all of Penbu's various socials in the description to this video. Be sure to subscribe, especially if you like music, because music is amazing. Uh, and with that, I was your host, Jack Jinseki, and joining me today was Penbu. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for having me.